Alrighty, and Alicia, whenever you're ready.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia. I work for the Downtown Dallas Public Library, and I'm happy to introduce Marquita Greer and Deborah Jones. They are here to provide information about the Texas Workforce Solutions Vocational Rehabilitation Services Program. This service supports people with disabilities obtain meaningful employment by providing a range of services based on each client's employment goals. If you have any questions, you can enter them in the chat and we will respond to them at the end of the presentation. If you want to speak to ask your questions, please wait till the end of the presentation and use the raise hand icon, which is under the reactions tab at the bottom of the screen. Also, if you require captions, you can click on the closed caption icon at the bottom, then click show subtitles. We're also recording, so if you do not want your image shown, please turn off your camera. Before we begin, let us know that you can hear us well. If not, please let us know in chat. Okay, if there are no problems with the sound, we're going to go ahead and get started. Here are Marquita and Deborah. Thank you for joining us again.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so as Alicia stated, my name is Marquita Greer, and I am the Community Outreach and Awareness Specialist for Texas Workforce Solutions Vocational Rehabilitation Services. Our region, Region 2, covers 19 different counties. So we cover the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area, all the way up to the Oklahoma border. Now, some of you all may know us by our former name, DARS, Department of Assistive and Rehabilitative Services, but we have been around for a very long time. Today, Deb and I will talk to you all about vocational rehabilitation services and how we can help. So let's take a look at our agenda. We will talk to you all about vocational rehabilitation services, the eligibility criteria for our services, services that are available, how to apply for services, and the both of us will answer any questions that you all may have.
Vocational Rehabilitation Services. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Deb Jones, and I'm what they call the Business Relations Coordinator for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I have a counterpart that also works with me, and my role is to not only develop relationships with businesses to find out the positions that they have available, but also to assist businesses to continue to grow their staff with people with disabilities. Texas Workforce Solutions, Voc Rehab, is a partner with the Texas Workforce System. I as well serve on the Tarrant County Workforce Board. We have folks that serve on the Greater Dallas Board as well as the other workforce boards in our surrounding area. Vocational rehabilitation services are available to eligible individuals with disabilities across the state of Texas, and some staff are located within many of the Workforce Solutions offices. And you will find that in many of our locations where it's all just a one-stop shop, as we call it. Next slide, please. This is the map of the state of Texas. I'm sure you recognize it. And in yellow, right around Dallas-Fort Worth, that is Region 2. That's where we are. And our region goes up to the Red River along the Oklahoma border and south almost to Waco. And then we kind of dip into East Texas and then go a little west as well, almost to Abilene. So we have quite an area that we cover. The state and the regions are divided by the Texas Workforce Commission to also align with the different board areas throughout the state so that we have specific board areas that we cover. Next slide.
So let's talk about what vocational rehabilitation does and who we serve. We help eligible adults with disabilities when the disability is a substantial barrier to employment, and services are required to help them prepare for work, to help them get a job, to help them keep a job, and to help them advance in employment. So we have our general VR caseload carrying staff, where these are counselors that have adult caseloads. So anyone that is an adult that has a disability, and we'll talk a little bit about what those disabilities look like or who we serve a little later. These individuals help these individuals with services. We have counselors who work in the schools with the different school systems, and they serve our youth and students with disabilities ages 14 to 22. So those are what we call transition services, and they're required, and those services are needed to help them prepare for any post-secondary educational opportunities and any employment opportunities. And so, Deb, you want to talk a little bit more about the business relations unit and what you and Billy do?
Sure. We are contacted by many businesses. I'll give you an example. Billy and I met with a business straight up at 9 o'clock this morning that has all kinds of positions to fill. And so what we do is we meet with those employers. We determine specifically what are the essential functions of the job, what area are they wanting to hire from, what geographical location, is there public transportation to their building? Not only that, but then we also work with that employer to educate them, their supervisors and other leaders, and many in the workforce, to show them how they're already working with people with disabilities. They may not know that, but they already are. And what we do is we encourage ways for them to accommodate and allow more folks with disabilities into the workplace. Not only that, but we work with them in case they are trying to retain some folks that may have had disabilities but didn't need any accommodations, or folks that have been working there and they've developed some type of disability. And so then we will also step in to assist them so that they continue to be successful in their employment. Next slide.
So, who does vocational rehabilitation serve? We serve people with blindness and significant visual impairments. So, for example, if an individual is in the workplace or where they have that significant visual impairment, such as cataract, that's affecting their vision and affecting their ability to perform any job duties or to achieve a successful employment outcome, we can assist them. We help individuals with hearing impairments, including deafness and hearing loss. So if an individual needs hearing aids or any assistive technology devices, then that is something that we can assist them with. Mental and behavioral health conditions, any physical disability, such as a birth defect, a back injury, or spinal cord injury. We have individuals with traumatic brain injuries, seizure disorders, any intellectual and developmental disabilities, any cognitive, if an individual has a learning disability, ADHD. These are things that there are things that we can assist them with, and we serve them as well. Other physical, visual, and mental conditions that impacts a person's ability to obtain, retain, or advance in competitive integrative employment, and even to prepare for work. We serve those individuals who may have diabetes, and the diabetes is interfering with their ability to perform job duties or to get a job and keep a job. Any recipients of Social Security, SSI or SSDI, we automatically provide them with benefits counseling. So we tell them how their benefits will be affected and the benefits of returning back to work. So we let them know if they will still be able to maintain their Social Security check, or even if that check is no longer there for them. A lot of individuals don't know that they can keep their health insurance, because I know that's a big concern for individuals. So we send them for the benefits counseling. We have counselors in all of our offices that are what we call SMERS. So they are subject matter experts in Social Security disability benefits. So let's talk about the eligibility criteria for services. So you may be eligible for services if you have a documented disability, which results in a substantial barrier to employment. So what that looks like, if you are under the care of a doctor and you have medical records, we can request those medical records. For example, if you're being seen at Parkland or any of the other hospitals, we can request those records. Even if you don't have documentation of your disability, but you know that something is interfering with your ability to achieve an employment outcome, we can send you for an evaluation. We can help you get the documentation needed to address any barrier that's interfering with your ability to get a job. If you require our services to prepare for work, to obtain, retain, or advance in employment, you may be eligible. And as a result of receiving our services, you are able to achieve that employment outcome. So here I have the services that are available. Let me just first start off by saying that this doesn't even touch on the number of services that we provide. This is just mainly the main ones. But basically, if a service is needed to help you prepare for work, to get a job, to keep a job, or to advance in employment, then you and your counselor can discuss it to see if that's something that we may be able to provide. But the medical and psychological assessments that I spoke about to help you get the documentation needed for your disability, then we have psychologists and a number of doctors that we work with. So we would be able to purchase those assessments. If you're not so sure as to what it is that you want to return to work doing, then we can send you out for a vocational evaluation. All of our counselors provide career counseling and guidance. That is a substantial service within our agency. So your counselor will be providing you with career counseling and guidance, training and education after high school, training and education if it's needed to return to the workforce, and to help you prepare for work, training and education if it's needed to help you advance in your current employment. We provide job site assessments and accommodations. So if there's something that you need on the job, if there's a special chair or a special desk that you need, then we can have someone come out and assess the job site, and we can get that, get what it is that you need. We have contracted vendors who provide job placement services. We work in close partnership with all 28 local workforce development boards and the workforce centers to provide job search assistance. They have job fairs. They have I know in Tarrant County, they have one coming up in August that we will be partnering with them, and we will have a virtual booth at that job fair. Any job coaching that is needed, on the job training to help you learn your job, supported employment. Now with supported employment, that's a little bit more hands-on, where we will have someone assist you with getting the job, helping you through the interview process, doing the job coaching and the on-site job training, helping you fill out the paperwork that's needed. And they will continue to monitor your case for a few months to make sure that you are successful. Now, if anything comes up on the job, they will contact the employer, or the employer will contact them to ensure that you are able to continue on the job. So supported employment is very hands-on, but is very successful with those individuals that receive it. Any assistive technology and devices, if an individual needs hearing aids, prosthetics, wheelchairs, any device, FM systems, any devices that are needed for an individual to help them prepare for work, to get a job, to keep a job, or to advance. We have time-limited medical and psychological treatment. We pay for a certain amount of counseling sessions. We contract with a lot of licensed professional counselors, PT, physical therapy, occupational therapy. These are some of those time-limited medical and psychological treatments that we provide, and also work readiness training. Deb, did you want to talk a little bit about the paid work experiences and our summer earn and learn program?
Oh, wow. Those are two big ones. In Summer Earn and Learn, what we do is our youth throughout the community are put into opportunities where it's very much just like they're working there. What we do is we pay their wages for, and this is for SEAL, the Summer Earn and Learn. And that's where we pay their wages while they're in a work site learning new skills and maybe how to interact with other people, but just numerous skills. They have a 5-week program in the summertime, and it's 20 hours a week, and it really helps our youth determine a great fit for them, or jobs that they may want to do and maybe they don't want to do. So that's our summer earn and learn. And then we also have paid work experience where all of our customers are eligible, whether they're youth or they're adults, to be put into a minimum of 12-week paid work experience. Can be up to 14 weeks where you go to work for an employer. We pay your wages and you work for that employer. And many times it does result in an offer of employment, because that's what we're after. There are times, though, where folks go in and they do their paid work experience and decide, oh, no, I can't work in, say, healthcare, but I could work over here in this clinic doing this other job. I just don't like the hospital setting. And so then we move folks around and we switch things up so that they get the most out of their experiences, and the employer is then also very happy with the folks that we refer, because especially like right now, there are so many employers that really need folks to get out there and work in the community. So this really supports our businesses when they're needing us the most.
Thank you, Deb. So let's talk about, how do you apply for services? As the community outreach and awareness specialist, my job is to bring awareness to our vocational rehabilitation program. We have went through quite a few name changes, but we've been around. The vocational rehabilitation program has not changed over the last, 50,
Yeah,
60 years.
just the
Um,
name.
just the name. For so long, we were known as the best kept secret. Well, in my position, I'm hoping to change that. So I'm bringing awareness to the program. If someone is interested in services, then they can contact me and I will get them to an office nearest them. And I can provide you all with my contact information. We have our rapid engagement team in Austin. So they can call 512-936-6400 and they will get them to the office nearest them, to a vocational rehabilitation counselor. And we actually just launched our Start My VR portal. So if you go onto Texas Workforce Commission's on that page there, on the front page there, when you go to the website, in the right-hand corner, there's an icon that says Start My VR portal. This is a self-referral system. So if an individual is interested in our services, they can go on there and fill out the initial contact information, and they will get assigned to a counselor. They will get a ticket number so that they can kind of follow their case to see where they are in the VR process. So it's a really neat tool where if an individual is needing our services, then they can go online and fill out that information, and we will be able to get them the help that they need. We understand that in the midst of the pandemic, Everything is virtual right now. In the past, we've had people just walk in the office and say, hey, I'm interested in services. So the VR portal was started so that we don't miss any of those individuals who are wanting to apply for our services. So you all can check that out on our TWC webpage. Okay, let's see. The screen kind of froze up there. There we go. Now, after you have made contact with our office or contacted me or RET or went on Start My VR portal, then you will get assigned a counselor. You will meet with that counselor to complete the application for services. Now, please keep in mind the counselor will ask you to bring needed documents to get the case started. So once you have brought that counselor the needed documents and complete the application for services, then the individual will receive an eligibility determination from the counselor. Now, our program is on an eligibility base. After receiving the eligibility determination, then the counselor and the individual will complete assessing and planning to determine those services. Now, what does that look like? They will talk about any services that we will purchase, provide, or arrange. Now, with arranged services, we work in partnership with our community partners, nonprofits, the workforce centers, and different agencies to assist that individual. Because we do understand with employment, it's not just about employment. They may need assistance with housing. They may need assistance with transportation, things like that. So we work in close partnership with other agencies and organizations within the community. Now, after completing that, then they identify those services and they decide upon an employment goal. And they complete what we call the individual plan for employment. Now, this is basically putting everything in writing as to what services they will be provided in order to help them reach that employment goal. Now, I want to make sure I remember to tell you all that with services and participating in our program, the individual has to be willing to address that barrier, address the disability, address whatever impairment that may be, because we want you all to be successful in your employment. So what does that look like? The counselor and the individual will discuss that. So whether that is attending counseling, or for instance, if physical therapy is needed so that you are able to do your job, then going to those physical therapy sessions. So the individual has to be willing to treat their disability. Now, after completion of the individual plan for employment, services begin. And we work to help that individual meet that employment goal. Now, after the individual has obtained employment and they've been employed, and we monitor the case for a few months, maybe longer with supported employment. And once the individual is stable on the job, then we will close that case out as successful. Deb, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, there is one little piece of this that I think is really important, and that is that once a person does get to a work site and after things are going extremely well, they've been hired, they've been there for a few months, you really need to maintain contact with your counselor. So many times our folks will get a job, whether it be us helping them, they've got one on their own with our support, whatever, but they go to work and then it's like they don't reach back out to let us know, hey, I'm employed. And that's a very important piece of it, is maintaining that, because that counselor will want to dig in and make sure that everything is being taken care of, that you know you're getting your paychecks like you're supposed to, that you know that you're paying your bills like you're supposed to, so that we can help you identify stability, possibly for many for the first time in a long time. So it's very important for them to maintain contact with the counselors until their case is closed, for sure.
I also want to mention that an individual may need our services 2021 and they are successful on the job, and then life happens. They can always come back through our program. There is no limited amount of time that an individual can apply. We have individuals that come every 4 to 5 years if they need their hearing aids replaced. And those hearing aids are needed to help them keep their job. Then we can assist with that. So it's a really good program. And if anyone is interested in applying for our services, reach out. I can assist with getting you to the counselor nearest you. This page here, this is our federal funding. So this just talks about how our funds are allocated throughout our program. And now Deb and I will answer any questions that you all may have. Do we have any questions?
That's a good sign.
Deb, we have a question that says, do we handle legal assistance with an employer who discriminates?
Actually, I get that question quite often. And so the term discrimination is a very widely used term. And so what I encourage folks to do is go to um, uh, places like the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They will monitor that for you. You don't always have to file a case with them, but you can call and talk to someone, even set up an appointment. But I would certainly encourage you to really look at the specific definition on discrimination and what that actually means and what it looks like and how you know that it happened, because and it does still happen. I mean, I know it does. We had one that I heard about recently where a company was fined over $25 million because of the fact that they refused to put in some ramps, and the ramps, because they needed to be, of course, accessible. But they didn't really feel that it was necessary and used some temporary fixes anyway. It ended up being a lot of money that they were fined because they were not compliant, and there were public entrance and egresses that they were not addressing. So it can be very costly to businesses, but most businesses, or I don't want to say all of them, but most that work hand in hand with us want to hire people with disabilities. In my previous life, before I came to work for this state, I had hired a very large number of people with disabilities. And I learned how effective the workforce was, how stable my workforce was, because of the fact that it's been proven that folks with disabilities come to work every day. They're dedicated, they're engaged, and employers want that. They want that type of ownership in the workplace. So it's very rewarding for us and the employers, and especially our customers that are looking for that perfect fit. I also saw a question, or I thought I saw a question about colorblind. Did you see that one, Marquita? And I can kind of
Yes.
address that in my in my previous life. Um, we got away from using color coded things because of that. Um, and so we would use pictures, diagrams of things instead of color. It's an accommodation. But now, if you are working a job where it is required, where it's an essential function that you be able to identify between colors, then you may not be able to go to work for that employer, because unless there's some type of what they call a reasonable accommodation that we could do to facilitate your success in that environment, then we would do that. We just look at whatever technology or accommodations we could do to try to help. But we would certainly go in and evaluate it for sure.
Now we have another question that says, do you provide training or workshops to employers to educate them about the benefits of hiring people with disabilities? And what kind of jobs are available? Do you partner with certain employers or companies?
Oh, wow. Okay, what was the first part of that? Because you, let's go back
With
and
the
we'll break
training
it in.
and yes, with the training and
Oh,
workshops
I'll give
to
you an example.
employers to educate them.
I'll give you an example of that. This is a perfect example. We've partnered with the city of Fort Worth and many of their departments, especially for our summer Earn and Learn program for our youth. And now we have expanded it to where they're doing 12-week paid work experience now with many of our customers. And one of the very first things that we offer to any employer that is bringing in anyone with a disability, whether we're paying the wages they are, doesn't matter. The very first thing that we offer to them is awareness training. And that's where we go in and we talk about, here's the type of language you should use, and you don't want to say these kind of things. And the thing is, the employers, they get very interactive, very involved. They want to participate. They ask excellent questions because they know that they are wanting to create a work environment where all folks are going to be comfortable, no matter whether it's their skin color, their religion, their sexual orientation, if they have a disability, doesn't matter. They're trying to create that environment. So you bet. And to finish my example, we've gone from training in 4 departments just like 4 years ago to now 17 different departments within the city of Fort Worth. That's just one example of an entity. We do the same thing with very large companies. I'll mention what kinds of jobs. Well, here's an example. Did a meeting yesterday with Southwest Airlines, and they really have 2 major categories. One of them is really they're kind of hourly, and the baggage handlers and the customer service reps and all that kind of stuff. And then they have this other category that's considered administration, and that's for managers or maybe even some senior pilots that have now been in a leadership role. Anyway, they divide them into 2 categories, and they wanted to know, how do we get these positions in front of your customers so that they can come and apply, and we can do all we can to hire your folks, and which is conversation right down my alley, because that's exactly what I did. I called the state and I said, I want to hire some folks with disabilities. This was 20 years ago. And that's how my relationship started with vocational rehab in Texas. And it's been a 20-year relationship. And so I have seen the success more than the failure. That's for sure. And usually when things don't work out, it's usually around our folks where life happens or the disability changes and there's a change in their conditions and we need to pull them off work to reevaluate their disability and get them back stable. Many times that's accomplished through a leave of absence or time away from work and those kind of things we can assist with counseling or and treatment, whatever is necessary to maintain that employment. So, but the variety of positions is endless, entry level all the way to PhD engineering jobs. So just wide variety, and we so many different companies from small businesses to extremely large corporations to mom and pops around the corner that have a donut store. We work with all businesses and address and how they want to enter the program and what we can do to support them, because we believe in what we call service afterwards. And that is when they hire, let's say I'm the one with the disability, when they hire me, then they also know that I'm going to be coming with a team full of people. When I say a team full, I'm talking about the support is there. Not that 10 people will be walking around with me, but the support will be there to make sure with the employer and with me that we're both being successful in the job. Maybe I call my counselor one day and I say, oh my gosh, Marquita, you have to help me. I'm going to have to quit my job. They changed my schedule by 30 minutes every morning. Well, Marquita then would talk to me about, well, let's take a look at that. Let's see, can you adjust your schedule and what kind of things are keeping you from doing that? And so we talk those things out and we work things out so that that employer then is comfortable, and especially then I'd be comfortable with changing my schedule. And as somebody told me, life changes quickly and you need to either adapt or where are you going to be if you don't? So there you go. Any more questions?
I do see one that says, do we partner with local nonprofits that provide services to those with disabilities?
Oh my.
Yes, yes, we do. And as I stated earlier with my role, my job is to get the word out. So if you all know of any local nonprofits that haven't heard of our services or would benefit from this informational session, then by all means, let me know, and maybe we can collaborate together or work together to reach them so that I can provide them with the information. If it's not Deb and myself or her counterpart Billy or the three of us, it's kind of like we're on tour.
Yeah.
We're on tour, letting everyone know about BR services and the benefits of it. So yes, we definitely partner with different nonprofit agencies.
Mhm. A lot of partnerships. That's the only way that it would work.
Oh, okay. So the job fair in our region, we partner with 4 different board areas. So that is Greater Dallas, Tarrant County, North Central, which covers like Plano, Collin County, Denton County, and then Texoma, which is up by the Oklahoma border. So in the midst of the pandemic, everyone went virtual. So they have been having job fairs, in Tarrant County has a job fair on August the 11th, and they have quite a few employers. I think on average it's about 70.
Oh, I just saw the thing yesterday and it said that there were 104 already registered. So this is going to be a huge job fair. And the thing is, virtually there's only or Highway 360 that separates Tarrant County and Dallas. So those jobs are there, and many of the companies that will be represented at the Tarrant County virtual job fair are also based in Dallas. So
Yes.
I would and it's virtual, so you don't even have to leave your home to go, and all you got to do is go to the Tarrant County Workforce Solutions and pull up their website, and you'll be able to get registered right away for that job fair. And I believe that you can get yourself set up for emails for future job fairs, which really helps because I'll tell you, they're having them about what, every 6 weeks, I think, Marquita? I think
Yes, they
so.
are.
Yeah.
And it's right after Tarrant County has one, then we may get an email. Deb and I may get an email from North Central where
Yes.
they're inviting us out to have a booth. Now, I see a question that says, due to the pandemic, many state offices are closed to the public. Are our offices open to the public? Yes, we are.
Yes.
So we are giving individuals the option to meet with the counselor virtually, or if they don't have access to the internet or a computer, then they are able to come into the office and meet with the counselor to complete that application for services. So yes, we are open. We want to make sure we help anyone who needs our services to help them get back to work. Any more questions? Well, before we close, I would also like to talk about post-employment services. So let's say, for instance, an individual case has been closed and during that time, they were stable on the job and something came up after the case had been closed successfully. We want to make sure individuals are successful. So if their case has already been closed successful and they're still on their job, but they're in danger of losing that job, they can call that counselor and that counselor will assist them. They will open that case up in what we call post-employment services and provide those services to that individual to help them stay on the job. As Deb mentioned, if an individual case has been closed and a few years down the line, the disability changes, or even a year, or even within that year, if the disability changes and they're in need of our services, then they can reach out to us. If they start the process and then they say, oh, well, no, I don't want to do this right now. I'll come back at a later time. They can come back through as many times as they need. They may not, we know life happens. So they may complete the application and not get to that individual plan for employment and take some time for themselves. They can come back. They can come back. We will open their case. We will assist them. So with that being said, we understand that life happens and we are here. We are here to assist. So counselors are ready and available to meet with individuals who may need our services and to get the process going. If you all have any questions for me, I always have my work phone. I will answer an email even after hours. I will return a phone call within the same day or the next business day. So please feel free to reach out. Now, in my position, there are 6 of us, and also there's 1 in each region. So even if you have a family member or a friend who may benefit from vocational rehabilitation services in Houston, I can get you all the contact information for that COA in Houston, in Austin or East Texas or South Texas, or even Lubbock. So we are statewide. There's a business relations coordinator in all regions, just like Deb. There's 1 or 2 of them in each region. So we are here. And I'll end with, tell someone that knows someone that may know someone about VR services, so that we're no longer the best kept secret.
I wanted to add upon what you said, Marquita, and I think that many times folks don't know that there are many systems within the state of Texas that will assist you in finding a job. And one of the biggest ones, I strongly encourage you to write down this website, but go to www.workintexas.com. We call it WIT for short, but www.workintexas.com. And when you go on there, you'll start setting up your profile. Make sure that you get as specific as possible about the type of position that you're wanting and the areas and your job interests. It goes into lots of detail. Take the time to set up the profile properly, because that's key. And you guys are a job seekers club, so this is really important. It doesn't matter whether you live in Dallas, Houston, Uvalde. Fill out your Work in Texas profile, and what will happen if anyone is hiring for that specific position, you will start receiving texts or emails for those positions where you can easily apply for them. You can also, it will build out a resume for you. Just lots of features on there that would really, really help you in your job search efforts. So I encourage you to do that. It's an excellent tool, and thousands of employers are using it to do their jobs. The employers that you'll see in all of these virtual job fairs that Marquita and I were talking about, those employers are also in workintexas.com as well. So setting up that profile, making sure that you keep consistent contact information and keeping it current on your resume and on applications so that employers are able to get a hold of you, okay? And I think that was it. I didn't have anything else to add either.
Well, I just want to thank you all for allowing us the opportunity to present our information. We are always here. If you all have any questions, again, reach out. I look forward to working with you all. Well, we look forward to working with you all because we're a team. And as I stated, we're currently on tour. So
Yeah.
reach out to us and let us know how we can assist you all.
I just want to say thank you both for presenting. I happen to be a client of this service. I'm profoundly deaf, and the state pay for cochlear implant surgery. And if anybody knows anything about being deaf, it's really, really expensive.
Yes.
With all the hearing aids and implants and assistive technology, and this program has really helped with that. And I know that if you are blind or deaf, you're also eligible for free tuition at any state public college or university. And I
Yes.
think some private universities are eligible. Is that correct? For the free tuition?
Now, Marquita, you might know better than me. Okay.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
So even though that there's that tuition waiver there, we can assist with books and any assistive technology that they may need for school. So we can definitely assist with those support services.
Mm-hmm. It's a great service. So I highly recommend anyone who even thinks they may have a disability to check out the vocational rehabilitation service program. And if we do not have any more questions, then we can go ahead and end it. And again, thank you so much for joining us today and presenting about the vocational rehabilitation services program.
Thank you, Alicia. We enjoyed it.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.